Welcome back to the channel, people. Thank you for tuning in. So today I decided, before I prep the solo skiff for my fishing trip this weekend, I want to just talk to you guys about why I think you should get a solo skiff instead of a kayak. Now, I'm not referring to like your normal paddle kayaks, right? I'm more talking about like your pedal drive kayaks and your motorized kayaks. Basically the kayaks that allow you to kind of fish hands-free. And so I just want to tell you why I think the solo skiff is a better alternative than getting a kayak. So just to give you some history, I've been doing kayak fishing for about 3 years now. My first kayak was a Jackson Coosa FD, which is their pedal drive. And then shortly after, I switched to the 2019 Hobie Outback. Both kayaks are pretty good. I think the Hobie was a little more refined. Personally, you know, I like the Hobie more. And one of the things that I thought about before I got the solo skiff was that, you know, if I get the solo skiff, will I be getting rid of my kayak? And there were certain check boxes I needed to check in order for me to say yes. And the last checkbox happened a couple weeks ago, where I have this neighborhood lake, and typically it's a small lake, right? And so really you don't need a motor to get around in it. And I was thinking, man, am I going to be able to launch this solo skiff in the lake? Because there's no boat ramp, you just have to drop it over the edge and let it get on the water. And so I was able to do that last week or a couple weeks ago, and I had no issues whatsoever. So once I was able to check that off, you know, like last week I actually sold my Hobie Outback, and now I'm exclusively fishing only out of the solo skiff. So that's why today I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why you should get a solo skiff instead of a kayak. So reason number 1, the ability to launch anywhere, right? So a lot of people get into a kayak because of the fact that, you know, you don't have to use a boat ramp, and you can launch on the side of the road, you can launch at the beachfront, you can launch on the side of the boat ramp, over a shelf into a body of water, whatever the case may be. The bottom line is you don't need a boat ramp, you can just put it in anywhere. And with the solo skiff, that's also the case. You can just drop the solo skiff anywhere. I've launched at boat ramps, I've launched on the side of boat ramps, and, you know, in my neighborhood lake, which has no boat ramp. So it's very versatile when it comes to launching. Just like that, we made it to the water. So that there is reason number 1. Takes me to reason number 2. Reason number 2 is stability. You know, anytime you're looking for a kayak, especially pedal drive kayaks, and when you're inshore fishing, you're always looking for stability in a kayak, right? Because, you know, you have boats passing by you, generating weight and moving you around, and so you want to make sure it's stable so that way you don't turtle or anything like that and end up in the water. And I can tell you that there's not a kayak out there that has more stability than the solo skiff. Not the Pro Angler, which I think Pro Angler's probably the most stable when it comes to stable kayaks. Just to give you some specs on this thing, I think it's 14.6 feet by, I want to say 41 inches. So it's a pretty long and wide kayak. So what that allows you to do is at any given moment in time when you're fishing, you can just stand up. You don't have to wait till the wind's right. You don't have to wait until the boat has moved. Whatever the case may be, you can just stand up. As a matter of fact, I've been standing on my platform while boats have been passing by, and it is so stable that you barely even feel it. So number 2 is stability. So number 3, cost to get on the water. So the hull of the solo skiff, bare hull, which only gets you rod tube holders and a blank slate, right? I think it's about $1,900. Me personally, I bought mine used, but not used because it was never used yet. So I ended up buying the hull by itself, and I just threw my motor on there. But if you're trying to get back to BAU, like if you had a kayak before and you just want to get back on the water and fish around a little bit and then decide if you want to get an outboard, well, you can do that, right? Because all you need to do is you buy the hull, 1900. Then once you have the hull, you go pick up a transom mount trolling motor, which you can get like a Newport or a Minn Kota 40-pound thrust, which I think they run about 150 bucks. And then you can just go get a lead acid battery. I think a decent sized lead acid battery is going to cost you about 100 bucks. So that 1900 plus 250 bucks, you're looking at 2150. Then you got to register it, obviously, which that's another 50 to 60 bucks. So we'll say around 2250, and you're on the water fishing again, BAU, business as usual, right? And then in the future, let's say, oh man, I enjoy the solo skiff. Now it's time for me to go get an outboard. Well, you can do that, right? And now you just expanded your range, your speed, and everything. So reason number 3 is the cost to get on the water and fish. Now, reason number 4, I know this is really near and dear to a lot of kayakers, especially on the Texas coast, but it's the shallow water capability, right? I'm holding 3 fingers. But reason number 4 is the shallow water capability. So with the solo skiff, you are able to get in water just as shallow or shallower than a kayak. And what I mean by that is most of us in kayaks that are fish kayaks, we like to, fish the Texas marsh, which if you're chasing down reds in the marsh, it's going to have you encounter some very skinny shallow water. Sometimes your drive won't be able to work, or your motor, so you got to push pull through that. Well, this guy, I'll say, is a push pull king. You can push in at least at, I'll say, 1 to 2 inches of water and not have an issue. And that's including being weighed down with a outboard, micro anchor, and also a trolling motor on the front. And in comparison, I've been next to a Hobie Outback, a 2019 Hobie Outback in that same water, in the same shallow depth of water, and it actually got stuck before me. And the reason being is hull design. The hull on the solo skiff is designed for poling. If you notice, the front is a little thicker, right, and it has that V shape in the front to cut through the water, and in the rear it gets narrower but flat, right? And underneath the flatness of that, you have some grooves or channels that allow water to run under the hull. And the idea behind that is when you're in shallow water, the water you can pole, and those grooves allow you to still pole. And the cool thing is, when you sit in the rear and you sit down and pole, the nose actually lifts up, and so you really are only on the narrow portion of the kayak, which allows you to get through the shallowest water with so much weight, including your person sitting on the kayak. So reason number 4 is you can get as shallow as the kayak, but not limited to going to the same spots that boats can go with their motor. And so now that brings me to reason number 5. So I'm going to divide 5 into 5A and 5B, and you'll see why here in a second. But number 5, or 5A, is time. Time is pretty big on my list, just because, I have 2 young kids, and so I fish on the weekend. A lot of people out there watching may fish on the weekend also. And so if you're a weekend fisherman and you have young kids, you want to still get your fishing in. Man, it's starting to rain. But you also want to be able to get back home in a timely manner to go and hang out with your kids or your family in general. And so with that, time is a big thing to me. So typically with a kayak, you wake up in the morning at a certain time to get to the launch spot. Then you go launch and you travel off to your fishing destination. To get from the launch to your fishing destination, it may take anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour if you like to explore different places like I do. And then once you're done, you got to take that 45 minutes to an hour to get back to your launch. So that's about, 2 hours out of your day. With the solo skiff, those 2 hours turn to 5 to 10 minutes there and back. And the reason why is because you have the motor, right? And so with the motor, you're moving anywhere between 12 and 16 miles per hour, and you can get to your spots quicker, go fish, and then get back and not have to worry about fighting against the wind, the current. You know, that struggle is real out there when it comes to the wind and current and how it affects how well you can pedal back or paddle back. So that's 5A. 5B is kind of related, where, you know, once you get to your fishing spot, right? Let's say you don't see any fish around, you don't see any bait, fish are hard to come by, and you're thinking to yourself, man, I shouldn't have come here, I should have went somewhere else. Well, with the kayak, you just can't pick up and go somewhere else. But with the solo skiff, all you have to do is drop that motor and motor off miles away if you want to, and go fish somewhere else and find some fish. So those are my 5 reasons as to why I think anyone looking into buying a pedal drive or a motorized kayak should really take a hard look at getting a solo skiff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you think about a solo skiff over a kayak, or, you know, even if you feel like I'm wrong, right? And obviously this is my opinion, but if you feel like I'm wrong, comment below, let me know. But in any case, when you get a chance, go ahead and like, subscribe, comment if you want to, and thank you for watching.